I'm so proud of you, Dina. Like to see how hard you've worked, girl, to like get to this
My
place.
God.
Like for one, you're a whole wifey, but two, like you a boss babe. Like it is so like as a fellow girl that loves to create and loves to like be of service. I think it's so beautiful to see when it's like your own peers going out there and doing the damn thing, cuz like I can only imagine how much work and effort and consistency and ups and downs that you have to go through to just get to where you are. And like I feel like as a creative or like someone that's an entrepreneur that rarely gets acknowledged, like all the work you're doing on the back end just to create this vision that you have in your mind. And yeah, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of like the hustle that you've got because I know it's a grind. I already know.
You know it. Hmm. Yeah, but thank you. Thank you for so much for like having me on your podcast. I know we planned this like a while ago, and only now it's happening. But it's a okay. It's a okay. We're busy.
Exactly.
But thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to see where this conversation will go, and to just dive deeper into just owning your own business. Like it's very much possible online, because that's my business. It's just online. It's not, especially for those back home in St. Martin. Like you don't need to have like a physical location to have a business. You can literally start your business right now. You just need to make that decision and put the work to be successful. Because I said the other day that um put in the work and success will meet you halfway, because success does not happen just because everyone in the online space, hey, I made $1 million, I made 100K. No, they work very hard to reach those figures, and it's very very much possible for those on the island. So thank you so much. I'm super excited to just dive deeper into everything, and yeah, ask me all the juicy. I'm here to out.
Oh, awesome. I mean, I guess like we can kind of start at like the beginning. So like I know you're from, Honduras and like I feel like
Mhm.
that's a country that I've never had the privilege of visiting myself, but like I feel like it must have had an influence in like just how you have cultivated this mindset of like being sort of like this go-getter. And I'm curious like how was it growing up there, or like how has that influenced sort of the way that you go about, expressing your services, or just like where you were able to kind of develop your passions from like
Yeah.
having that upbringing.
So I kind of left Honduras at a pretty young age. I moved to St. Martin when I was 7 years old. And I must say, it probably was a traumatic experience for me because I hardly remember any of my childhood. And if anyone who ever moved away from such a young age, I don't know if it happened to you, but it happened to me that it's just my memory is not that great. I hardly can remember anything from back home. But I do know like seeing my mom work so hard and just basically getting it the best way she can. Because St. Martin is not an easy place to raise a child either. It's mainly an island for tourists with tourist prices, you know? So barely the locals can afford it. So my mom moving away from Honduras, she had to make do with what she got, and like with that hustle mindset that she have, I kind of basically adapted it. And today I'm so grateful for her because I am in a position I am in because of her and the support of my family, because I'm very family oriented. And like sometimes they may be like, you have an online business, that's not secure, like are you sure? Until I start showing them like, hey, I'm making like good money, like more money than those on the island is making, like working a 9 to 5 for 12 months. And yeah, I'm so grateful for my mom and just the hustle mentality. Like whenever you move away from home, you just need to move away to get that mindset. Because moving away from one country to the next, they're not going to give you anything. You got to work for it. And then you have the backlash from just the locals as well, like all the immigrants are coming to take away our jobs. Da, 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 da. Oh, this the foolishness. Yeah, so yeah, it's to be like, I can't tell you much from my childhood because I don't really remember it from Honduras, but I do remember like growing up in St. Martin, and that played a huge role in who I am today. Because I wouldn't be where I am without little St. Martin, as much as people like to bash it, but it's such a great place to grow up. open to so many cultures, really opened my mindset to be able to move to the Netherlands to study. And it just literally gave me the extra push that I could do anything I want to do, you know?
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. I definitely think like growing up in St. Martin gives you that like whole global mindset, even though you're in such a small place. Where like
Right,
as a business owner and like an entrepreneur, when you have to work with any kind of client that comes to you, like that only helps you adapt to their needs because you're like, okay, I've worked with Americans, I've worked with Europeans, I've worked with
right,
islanders. I already know like kind of what those cultures expect. And it's easier then to be like, okay, I know what these people are like, so I know how to
yeah,
carry myself. I know how to speak to them in a way that is going to resonate with them. It's going to make it easier for us to build that connection so that we can have, the vision and manifest it the way that we intend. So that, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm curious, like, how was it then moving to the Netherlands, seeing that you kind of had that experience of having to adapt to a new place in like your childhood? Did it make it easier to move to the Netherlands?
definitely. Because I got my Dutch nationality in Sint Maarten, and I immediately said I am moving away for school immediately. Because a lot of people, but like for example, on the Honduran passport, if I only had that nationality, probably would have still been in Sint Maarten right now, like still working typical job wherever I can find. Not saying anything is wrong with that, but furthering your education is so important. Even if it's going by the University of St. Martin, anything helps beyond your high school diploma. So moving away as soon as I got my my Dutch passport, basically, immediately I said, "Mom, I'm sorry, but I'm leaving you. I'm going out for school." And I had such an open mindset, like, "Hey, I'm gonna take this like however it is. I'm gonna embrace it." And at first, I was very naive when I first got there, like things will be so easy. No, it's not. Difference in rules, difference in culture. And I must say, the only time it got difficult for me was when I moved away from Leeuwarden. That's where I went initially for my bachelor's to Amsterdam. Because Leeuwarden is similar to Sint Maarten, very small, lot more like greenery, you have more trees, people are friendly. Whereas in Amsterdam, you're basically alone. And imagine that plus COVID, still some form of lockdown. I was very much alone, moved away from all my friends, and I just had enough. Like, I I completed my pre-masters and I said I'm gonna get the hell out of this country. Not saying I won't ever move back. It just I don't know. It depends if my husbands want to,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't see myself moving back there. I'm
Wait,
grateful for
where
my
are you
education.
now?
I'm in New Hampshire.
Oh,
Yes,
how
I'm
do
in a
you like it?
It's similar to Leeuwarden. It's literally similar. It's just that no public transportation, so it's pretty hard. Like everywhere in the United States, you basically need a car, and where I'm living, you need a car if you want to go anywhere. Yeah, and it's very much private.
What brought you to New Hampshire?
My husband.
Oh, wait. Okay, because I'm assuming he works like his career is in New Hampshire. Is that the reason, or did he grow up in like this area?
He's from St. Martin. He just moved here when he was younger, and he just grew up here. So this is where he's living now, and we're probably gonna move soon. Just waiting for one confirmation for him, and once he get the confirmation he need, then we'll be jet setting somewhere in the United States.
Oh, oh.
It's so interesting.
Well,
I
I feel you. Well, if you're coming to the west side, you've already got allies. I'm just saying.
know.
I'm just
Right.
saying. If you're trying to come through,
Hmm.
No, that's so interesting. I guess like how do you compare like because I know you said that it's similar to when you initially moved, but I guess like having seen like lived in the Netherlands, lived in St. Martin, and now you're living in America,
Hmm.
what has like been like that biggest like I guess difference for you comparing like living in a European country versus like now in the United States where these people are special over here.
These people are so special, but I must say the biggest thing is family. So I'm very family oriented. I love to be around my family. So I didn't have that while living in Europe, in the Netherlands. So living in the US now, my aunt, she lives like 50 minutes away from me. And then I have another aunt who lives in Jersey. So I can always visit them. Whereas when I was living in the Netherlands, I had to wait until summer or any holiday to book a flight, 6 hours to travel to the US or St. Martin or Honduras to see my family. So yeah, that's, I would say, is the biggest thing. Like I can adapt, and it can be hard, but I love family. I love to be around family and friends.
I feel you. I feel you. Family's important. It's like your ground rock of like your base, when you're moving anywhere, I think. It's like
Yeah,
always having sort of like these people that no matter what, like they're always going to love you, they're always going to accept you, they're always going to be there, to support you. And I think it's just so important to have that. Without that, it's just tough. It's tough. It's
yes.
very tough. But I'm curious, so like Miss Entrepreneur, I guess like how did you always know you wanted to start your own business? Like were you always just like I just always see myself kind of being my own boss? Like what motivated you to even say, "You know what? I want to do this thing. I want to take this leap of faith and
Right,
invest in Dena and Dena's vision."
right. Girl, no. I never thought that I would be like owning my own business, having my own team, and all of that good stuff. I don't know. Like I went to school, picked basically the easiest thing, because I just wanted a bachelor's, to be honest. And since I enjoy like talking to people, making them happy with experiences, that's why I did hotel management. Afterwards, like during that time, I started the Banana brand, which was mainly just to help those back home, those who in need, also with some blogs, basically just helping. And afterwards, I decided, okay, I wanna make some money. Let's try it out. I see that people, you can make money online. Let's see what I can do. And after I joined a group program from the United States, Big Leap, and I was still trying to figure it out. For everyone, I talked to so many people during that time. Like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this idea? Um, and then eventually, I just stopped in December and January because I'm like, okay, I'm tired. Too many changes in my life right now. Don't want to focus on a business. Then in March, I decided let's try with just virtual assistants. Let's see if that works out. And it did, and it blew up. But did I knew I wanted to do this like 5 years ago? No. But now I can't see myself working a 9 to 5. I rather work for myself and make my own money.
I feel it. I mean, it's liberating, like, to know that you can bring in a consistent, stable income and you don't need to rely on anybody and nobody has to tell you, like, how you're supposed to behave, when you're supposed to wake up and check in,
Exactly.
and when you can go on vacay. Like, there's a feeling like
Mhm.
no other. So I
Correct,
guess, like,
yeah.
your business so is the Banana brand the virtual assistant business, or it
No,
became 2 separate things?
2 separate things. So I kinda just closed down the Banana brand, to be honest. However, I do wanna start it up as a foundation, mainly for Honduras and Sint Maarten, helping those in need. So, like, when I get my business, I will tell you in a minute what it's about. When I get that to a certain point, and then I will have money going into the foundation to help those in need. Um, so that is just on the back burner for now because one of my values is community service always, especially coming from Honduras. Like it's so important to give back because everyone is in need. Everyone need a little bit of help here and there, even if it's like money or goods, even just giving them your time. It's important to give back to your community. And that's a big thing for me. However, I created a new business, which evolved from just a virtual assistant. It's called Kralisade. Uh, that means it's a combination of my cousin's name. That's what I mean. And it's basically just business management. So we offer like project management, executive management, client success management, and team management. So we do all of that in one. We're all in one support team for online businesses.
That's so sweet. I feel like
Thank you.
especially now in this time where like online businesses is booming so much, like it's like perfect thing to start because it's like even me, like as someone that's trying to build brands and build services, like I
Mhm.
always like thought, like at least in myself, that I struggle because I end up being the person of like, okay, well, I feel like no one will help me, so I'm just gonna do it myself, which is never a good road to go down because you can't do it all yourself. Like it's impossible. And I'm curious, like, as you went about building this, I know you started as like the virtual assistant, which I felt like you probably could like control 100% of because it was like you're the virtual assistant, you're helping people without their tasks. But when it came to like growing that to the different services, how did you go about like finding that team of people that you can really depend on to
Right.
help you in the areas that maybe you don't know enough about or like you need more support or it's just not the part of the business that gets you so excited that you're like, you know what,
Mhm.
maybe this would be a better role for somebody else within this,
Yeah,
vision.
so quick story about this business. Like in March I started, and by April 1st I got my first client. So it was cool, could handle it, gave her my all. She's still with me today. And then by the end of March, beginning of April, I got my second client, and it's just like a domino effect. And eventually in June, I grew so fast. It was like, okay, if I want to continue to grow this business, I need to start investing. Investing back into my time, investing back into my skills, and into this business. So I made a couple of investments. I invested in a sales and positioning strategist to help me with just the way I position the business and myself online. I invested in a business coach, which was not cheap.
I can
But because
imagine.
her, she helped me shift my mindset to where it is right now, and the business just going to continue to grow from here onwards. And I changed my product suite a little bit, my services. So instead of just offering virtual assistants, I offering those four things I just told you about. So project, client, team, and executive all in one. So I had to figure out, okay, I want to outsource this and I'm gonna hire a contractor, which I did. And Akila, I hired her from St. Martin. I hired my own people. Hello. um, Hired her, and she, yeah, just the business grew with her, and we will continue to grow the business together because I do see a future as this business grows. I do see her in a very important role in this business. But everything takes time because since I'm still growing, building the foundation of this business, we're doing it together. So whenever we have a process, we're going to document it. So when I do bring on someone else, and I do plan to bring on my mom, then it will be easy for her to just pick up and do. So yes, I learned very quickly that I truly enjoy client success management and team management. I am still doing a little bit of operations, which is project management, but I completely outsource executive to my team member, and eventually I will hand off project as well. But for now, I am handling those three, and I think it's something you need to learn as you continue to grow a business. Like, what is my sweet spot, my zone of genius? What what are the tasks I'm doing, and then what can I delegate? Of course, understanding in your business what is actually documented, because you can hire someone and it could be a waste of money, not because of the person not doing their job, it's because you did not do your part in documenting what needs to get done or delegating properly to that person. So that's how I went about it, and I'm still learning. That's the beauty of
Yeah.
having your own business. I'm still learning, and she's very patient with me. Especially with my four clients right now. It's been great. Yeah, we have a great understanding.
That's awesome. I definitely think it's like invaluable to have a partner that understands where you're at and is willing to grow with you because like especially when you are like as young as we are, like there's so much that we don't know about business. Like it's hard to kind of see into the unknown when you've never built
Correct.
one yourself and like never had one fail. You don't know like what kinds of things customers can come back to you with.
Correct.
If they don't enjoy what they got and they're like, "I want a refund." How do you handle that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you handle complaints or like even becoming a searchable thing? I'm curious. You mentioned that you got your first client in April. how was the journey of actually finding your first client to, like, get them in the bag and be like, "Okay, someone's gonna pay me for this," you know?
Yes. Okay. So I gotta be very clear. Last year, for basically the greater part, like almost from February to December, I learned the necessary tools in the online space, and that's why I'm so successful now. It took me 10 months in order to basically enjoy the growth I'm going through right now. So my very first client, I applied to two vacancies. That's what we call it, and I applied to them. The first one, it wasn't that hot because, to be honest, I never went to a formal like interview. So I'm like, oh, I got this in a bag. Did not have it in a bag, but then I learned from it. But by the second interview, I got hired like on the spot. Like literally on the spot. Besides having the necessary skills with all the programs that needed in the online space, my personality also sold it. So with all my clients, like my personality was the cherry on top to hiring me, because you may have all the skills, but you may not be that fit for that person. Okay. You got to come with the energy. And I come with the energy, not to toot my own horn, but like all of my clients were basically vibes, straight vibes for all the interviews. And there were only two, what do you call it, application vacancies that I applied to that I did not get. But for the most part, for all, I only applied, sorry, I applied to three vacancies, did not get two, I got one, and the rest, no, I applied to four vacancies, got two, didn't get two, got a referral, and someone find me on social media. Yeah, so I got my clients from different parts of the online space, but nevertheless, that sales call was the cherry on top to, okay, I need this girl. I'm gonna hire her. Yeah. So it was a journey.
I feel you. That's
Hmm.
awesome. I guess,
Yeah.
like, when it came to, like, 'cause, like, I always wonder, I guess as, like, a small business owner, like, having employees or, like, having a team, like, that costs money, and you gotta, like, obviously pay yourself, otherwise, like, what's the whole
Right.
point of this? If you can't even live, then it's like, just all of
Right.
this, like, pain and anxiety. I guess, like, how did you go about having, like, sort of that division from, like, the financial part of building your business to know that, "Okay, if I'm gonna hire these people to be on my team, I
Mhm.
obviously, as like the business owner, have this obligation to ensure that they too have like a sustainable income."
Right.
How do you balance that weight, like when you're like trying to reinvest in the business, pay yourself fairly, but then you also have these people that are like relying on you for like
Right.
income into their own, lives and
Yeah. So, oof, it's a good question because I just hired a bookkeeper. So I hire a bookkeeper on retainer because I don't like numbers. I rather outsource it to someone. But in the beginning, I just started paying myself like consistently starting June. Um, it's not what I want fully, but it's a good start.
Mhm.
And once I knew my figures and what I can afford, I basically approached Keely like, hey, this is what I can afford. What are your rates? Can I meet you in the middle? Okay. And based with the scope of work. And based on that, I also, part of my values, I want people who work for me to be paid well, to get paid for their skills. I'm not trying to be sleazy, slimy, and pay people a little bit of money. Like, no, I'm gonna pay you. Like, we're all gonna enjoy this. So her salary already raised like since she started with me in June. Um, because of course her scope of work grew. Like she got a lot more on her plate, and she's helping me a lot. And eventually I want to bring her full time, but that will require me on my end to really start thinking about different aspects of the business. How can I continue to grow it, or what are my numbers to ensure that I can afford to pay her monthly on time all the time, so in the beginning it's difficult, especially a lot of people start businesses with the mindset that I'm gonna make $4,000 and that $4,000 is gonna be mine. No, like your business have expenses, all the softwares that you have, you gotta dish it out. And you just need to pay yourself a percentage, because if you're trying to like acquire more skills, to learn new things. Programs cost money, so you also need to save money in order to invest back into yourself, back into your business. So you're gonna just pay yourself like a small percentage, and a lot of people do not have that mindset. They think that, oh, I'm just gonna get 100% of it, and I think that's the shift that a lot of people have to make. Growing pains of being a freelancer to a business owner. You have to be okay with not paying yourself like a big amount of, not a big amount, but a lot of money in the beginning, but that's what's necessary to continue to grow your business. So yeah, that if you can speak to like a bookkeeper, an accountant, or some form of person who has knowledge in that field, I would say go for it. I'm happy I'm doing it now rather than 12 months down the line when it's a complete mess, you know?
I
So
feel
I'm
you.
setting myself up for success by putting my team member on retainer, putting my bookkeeper on retainer, invested in my business coach, which is another expense. All of that is what I need to do, pay out right now, so that I could be paying myself exactly what I want next year, which is very much possible.
Beautiful. I must say, like, one thing I admire is like how disciplined and like clearly like intentional you are. Like, you've
Mhm.
really put a lot of time to think through how you're going to go about this and like how you're going to be able to grow at a sustainable way, but uphold the
Mhm.
values that are important to you. And I think that that is so important because, especially in business, which, like, I complain about capitalism a lot, but it's just like the way of like how our society works. But I
Mhm.
think like you see all of these companies and you're like, how are they so big or how are they able to afford all of these people and like drive, this action? And then you see the other side of like small businesses trying to get off of the ground. And sometimes you can see like people then as they're trying to grow, like they compromise on their values because they're like, oh well, the money, the money, the money,
Mhm.
I need profit. But it's like to me, it's so beautiful and I think that's probably why people are so drawn to you is like you're very clear and intentional about what you are and like what you're trying to be and you're not going to compromise on that because that
Mhm.
is who you are and that's what you
Correct.
stand for. And I
Mhm.
think that is very beautiful because like in capitalism where you money can often skew people's motivations real quick, like I think it's so important to be so clear on like why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? Why is this, why are you putting all of this time and energy into this thing?
Right.
um and making sure that like at the end of the day like you're gonna stay true to that because that's the whole reason why you got into it in the first
Exactly.
place.
And like, yeah, in the online space, it's very easy to make money. Well, depending on how you sell yourself. But a lot of people in the online space are scamming people, especially in the US. And people are so gullible up here. Oh my goodness. They have money to waste. And people can easily make 100K in the online space by being very sleazy. And that's not how I want to grow my business. I'm building a legacy. And even with the Banana brand, like own your legacy, that was the very first like phrase that I value most in the business, because I want this business to be able to provide for my children, children, children. I'm starting off right, and if I need to start off small, that's a okay, because I know for a fact it's gonna easily grow. And all of the goals I had for this business for 1 year mark, from March to March 2023, I'm already doing it. I'm already achieving my goals. And that's because I took action and I'm very true to my values. And I don't want to cut corners. There's no need. There's no need.
I feel you.
Mhm.
Especially at this stage when you're like really trying to build that credibility, the
Mhm.
rapport, the branding of like, what is this experience that you're going to get with me when you care so deeply about that customer experience? Like, yeah, it's silly to compromise on those things. And I'm curious, like, how did you go about defining what you wanted your customer experience to be? Because I feel like in the online space, it is very much like, could go in many different directions,
Yeah.
like on like how because there's so many different types of people. How did you go about figuring out for you like who are the types of people you wanted to support, but like also making sure that you built this experience that like attracted those people towards you?
So I think I said it to someone last week. My clients are my besties. They're my girls. They are the woman I can invite for a brunch, and we can drink mimosas and have a blast. Okay. When in the beginning, sometimes it is tough if you never work with anyone before. You can be like, don't know who my LD client is. I do not know who I connect to the most. But I learned very quickly, and I must say I'm very blessed. That I enjoy working with women who give me the same energy I give to them. Like, it's not always about business. Like, I want to know what's happening with your family. Are you going on vacation? Let me know. I love to give gifts to my client. That's part of my experience. Part of my love language, to be honest, when it comes to business. Like, if I can just shower you with gifts all day, I will do that. And my clients, they send me birthday gifts. I send them birthday gifts. I make them feel special because in the online space, a lot of these service providers are just in it for the money. You're paying me, I'm providing you with a service. I do not need to do any more. But when you go beyond like the systems, the automations, and all of that stuff that people talk about, and you actually touch on a human to human connection, that's where the money is at, because that person is going to become a loyal client. That person is going to be someone who refers you to more successful business owners. Treating someone like they matter, that they're not just another number in your business, is so vital. And that's just the mindset I have when it comes to my client experience. It's like a day-to-day thing, something I need to constantly think about. It's like when you're married, you need to constantly think about your actions every single day, you know and I have the same mindset with my clients. Like, how are you feeling? How was this week? Was it hectic? What can I do to make sure that next week is not so hectic for you? How can I help you beyond what I'm doing for you? Like, what's part of my scope of work? I typically go beyond my scope of work. And that's okay with me because I truly enjoy working with my clients. If you need someone to chit chat, even if it's like after hours, like, hey, if you have no one else to talk to, we can chit chat. Like, I have my doors open for all of my clients, and I love them. They're my girls. I'm gonna visit two of them later this month, so I'm excited.
That's awesome. Get
Yeah.
trips in the books, like go experience different parts of America. Or I guess like are all of your clients in the United States or are they like international?
No, they're in the US. I have one that's in Florida, one in Georgia, Atlanta. I have one that's in San Francisco, and I have one, my new client, where is she located? She's located in the middle of the country. That I don't remember exactly where, but
No
somewhere.
worries. I feel you. I feel you. I'm curious because you mentioned like, like because there are like for example, like you did the podcast and like you've tried a bunch of different things. Like I'm curious, like 'cause, like, I think, like, one thing that's hard sometimes as well as a business owner when you care so much about the stuff that you do is, like, knowing when to walk away from something or knowing when to be like, "Okay, I had this thought. I thought it was gonna be great, but you know what? Maybe I need to pivot," and being
Mhm.
comfortable, making that pivot. I guess, like, how have you been able to be okay letting go of some of your ideas and visions, knowing that it's maybe just not the right time, they're not the right space, and just being fine with that, and, like, being fine with failing fast and not, like, having that hurt you and be like, "Oh, like, Dina, I messed up, like, I'm a failure because this didn't work out the way that I thought," like,
Right.
canceling that voice and being like, "It's okay, like, it's
Mhm.
fine."
It it depends. For example, a podcast that was basically during COVID time, and when I have my mind set on something that I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, because I can say I at least tried. That's the most important thing. Don't say you want to do something and continue saying that for like the next 2 years. If you're still thinking about it in 2 years' time, just do it. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. So with like everything that I've done, it's somewhat connected to what I still want to do. So the podcast, I still want to do the podcast, but in a different way. I want it to be like part, for example, if I do decide to do like a course or mentorship or anything of that sort, I want to put those who are interested through a pipeline of different episodes in the podcast. like a mini series type thing, or maybe I might just do a mini series. If so, yeah, it's still a thing I still want to do, and I still get like notifications on Pinterest because I started on Pinterest with that as well. And I'm like, boy, I need to start this back up, but I just need to have patience with myself because it's just not the right time. If I'm building the foundation of one thing, that's where my attention needs to be. And with the banana brand, I won't say it's a fail. It's more like a pivot. Okay. I needed to go through what I did last year in order to have the success I have right now. And the banana brand is still very much a thing. It's just, it will turn into something
I feel
different.
you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
and this
you.
will be like the foundation that we talked about. I really want to eventually turn that into that. It's just it's not the right time, you know. And I'm not afraid. I'm very open minded about a lot of things, and I'm not afraid to try. That's one thing with me. But that can be a good and a bad thing because sometimes I am like that with products, especially Apple products. And if I want a laptop, I'm gonna get a laptop, you know, which is terrible.
I feel you. You have to say Surface product, okay? And I hear Apple, I cringe. I'm like, no, the
Sorry,
enemy. I'm
I had
kidding.
service, and I give that to my mom.
Hey, at least it's in the fam, I'll take that. I'll take that
Okay.
any day. It's in the fam, it's in the circulation. No
Mhm.
worries. I mean, I use Apple products too, so I mean, it
Yeah,
is it is what it
and you
is.
work
You
with
gotta
them, so
keep your enemies close, right?
that's it.
But I'm curious,
Um,
how do you practice having patience with your business? Because at least me with goals that I have, I dream big, like I dream big. I want to go hard. Like I have this vision I want to execute, and I just want people to immediately just love it.
yeah.
And obviously, like reality is different. Things take time to grow. Like you need to have practice. You need to be disciplined. You need to be consistent. You got to build your audience, build your following, build your client base. How do you, I guess, go about having patience with your business and even just patience with yourself as like a boss and,
Mm,
CEO, when you're pushing and you want, to have this, obviously you have this goal in your mind. But yeah, like you say, it takes time to get there. It takes steps to get
mhm,
there. It might take,
definitely.
learning different things. But yeah, I guess like how do you go about like mediating that patience with like expectation?
I that's a good question because you need to find that thing that you enjoy. Like what I'm doing right now, I truly enjoy it. I truly enjoy being in the day-to-day operations of my clients' businesses. I love that. I love just taking control and just having them worry about sales, bringing in those clients, okay? And just further improving their business, enhancing it. I truly enjoy that. So I think if with anything in life, you need to just be honest with yourself. Do I enjoy this? Do I see myself doing this long term? And also look beyond your lifetime. If you truly want to build something, will it be impactful enough to go to like
Like
have
outlive you?
yeah, like with your children, will it be something that they want to continue to be in a family business? And then their children. So you need to think beyond that. It's not just about like immediate win because um last year like I stopped. I somewhat gave up mainly because a lot of things was happening, but because I know I couldn't stop thinking about it, I said let me start small, and by me starting small, like things quickly grew for me. And now I am learning, like, okay, now it's time to really be a business owner. Let's talk about figures. What are the steps I'm going to take based on money that would be available to me at certain times? So if I want to do like a trip to Bali, like a business retreat, I need to plan for that. Okay. And just, I guess, planning ahead is very important as well. And yeah, I would say my biggest thing is just be honest with yourself. If you want to sell swimsuits, do you enjoy doing it? Do you enjoy the operational stuff with selling swimsuits? Especially on the island, you will have to either drive to your customers' house or they will need to come to you. Do you enjoy packing up your swimsuits? Do you enjoy the photo shoot part of it? Do you enjoy like making newsletters for it for that business? And once you figure out if you enjoy doing just all the stuff you hate, and you enjoy doing it for like a while because you know eventually that you can hire someone for it, then I say go for it. But if you do not enjoy it, if you're doing it for like 6 months and you truly do not enjoy it, then I would say see how you can pivot. What is the next best thing? Maybe you need to go further down. Like if you're just a general VA, virtual assistant, maybe you truly enjoy social media management. Then just stick to social media management. Stop looking at what everyone is doing. And yeah, people are really are good bullshitters. Sorry for cursing on your podcast, okay?
Oh, babe, you can curse. I curse all the time. No worries.
People are bullshitters and they can easily sell a dream and make you believe that it's easily attainable and make you believe that like you could get that amount of success in 2 months. No, you got to put in the work and do all the things you don't like to do to in order to achieve that. It is what it is. So yeah, to have patience with yourself to continue doing the thing. I would say be honest with yourself. Do you see yourself doing it long term, especially the stuff you do not like to do?
I guess, like, how is the swimsuit business? Because I low key completely forgot you even had that too. I was
I
like, "Oh,
do.
shit."
I had it in Honduras, and it was okay. I got some money off of it. It was like one of those impulsive things, like, hey, I want to do something back home. I have the money for it. Why not? Let's try it out. And it was fine, but just the operational part of it, like just ensuring that the inventory was there, ensuring that the money was in a good like safe spot and whatnot. Um, I did not enjoy that part of it. So when I returned back home last year, I told my mom, "Hey, I will give you this inventory if you want, and go to Martin and sell it." And but she would just have to take over everything, and she agreed to that. And she's gonna start it up again, but in St. Martin, and I think just sell it within her network. Yeah.
I feel you. How did you go about, like, finding your supplier or, like, or did you, like, come up with the designs and, like, send it to a manufacturer and then they made it for you?
It wasn't that type of swimsuit thing. It
Okay.
just I bought it on a website and then have it shipped back home and then I just resell it. That's it. But
Okay, okay.
regarding like the logos and stuff, I did that on my own. The branding, I did it on my own. The bags for the logos and all that stuff, I ordered that online on Alibaba, I believe. And I'm very proud of myself because that's a learning experience I would never want to do again unless I have to. It's such a journey. And yeah. But for the most part, the only thing I would say that we did from scratch was the branding and getting the pouches for the swimsuit. I think that was like the most work.
Yeah, because for me, like, the reason why I ask all this is, like, I love product, like, I love how people, like, just I love the whole act of creation, like, that's the stuff
Mm,
that really gets my, like, blood, like, just
mm,
pumping. I love, like, how we can take an idea and then actually make
yeah,
a thing, and then you can see it in the world, and people are using it, and they're enjoying it, and to me, that is what brings me so much joy. It's like, yeah, being of service,
yeah,
and to me, it's like that is, like, the purpose of, like, our humanity is to always, like we're always like of service to one another, like we're always of service to our communities, and to me that is like so beautiful and it speaks so much to me, like it resonates in my soul. So I love to hear about like how people actually go about that, because when I see, like, how, like, even technology gets made, it blows my mind how many people are involved, how many,
yeah.
like, different players are involved, and you have to, like, synchronize this dance of, like, yeah, inventory and how do you predict how many people are gonna buy and what
Mhm.
sizes you need
It's a
to
lot.
size for your audience, and
Yeah.
yeah, it is a lot. That's why I think, like, people that go into that space, like, people that go into creating and, like, they build businesses and stuff, like, they are truly the warriors of, like, our whole freaking economy, because it
Mhm.
takes so much to just say, like, I have this idea. I have this thing. I think people will relate to it. I think people will resonate with it. And I go through all this work in hopes that people will actually do that. But you don't know until like
Oh,
you
yeah.
put it on, everything is live and then you're waiting to
Mhm.
see like who's actually going to,
Yeah,
come our way.
correct.
And it's a beautiful journey, like, to learn, change, have to
Mhm,
see, like, "Oh, okay, like, I thought this one thing wasn't gonna be that interesting, but it actually turned out to be so interesting."
mhm.
Um, and you're, like, constantly evolving, and that's that one thing that I've noticed with any business is that it's constant evolution.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
like, as, like, as Gen Zers, millennials, like, we look at these big companies like Microsoft or Coca-Cola, and we're like, "Oh my god, like, how are they so big, making all this money?" But then you
Mhm.
realize, like, these companies have also existed for a hell of a long time, and, like, they've transferred hands, like, their original maker is not even the person that's in
Correct.
charge anymore, and it's like, how do you build something that can, like you say, like, outlive you and, like, actually be something that, like, your family that comes after you can say, like, "This is something I wanna be a part of," or you can have other people that buy into this brand because of what it represents in the world and say, "I wanna be a part of this. I wanna help this grow. I wanna help this continue to evolve." Like,
Oh,
it's a beautiful thing to
yeah. Oh,
me. It's so cool.
yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And you're, like, a whole wife now. Like, I'm curious, like, how do you balance all of this? Like, how do you balance, like, just having your business, having your personal life, and then also now being a new wifey?
I would say the biggest thing is communication. Like for example, right now, I just got like all of my new clients are on my new retainer. And right now, it's a lot about setting up systems and documentation, all of that good stuff. So I am busy at least for the next 2 months. And I communicated that with my husband, and he was like, okay, cool. As long as you are very clear on your busy times and your slow times, I think your partner will understand. But you also need to be aware that they don't really understand your industry unless you explain it to them, because a lot of people don't get the online industry that there's money to be made, sweetie. There's money to be made. And the biggest thing with us is just communication. So if I need to work, like sometimes, especially for the last month, I've been working up until 7 p.m. sometimes, and he understood because I explained to him that, hey, these are very busy time for me. I have like 4 clients, a new team member. I need to juggle all of this stuff, and there's not enough hours in a day. Finally, understand what my mom said. There's not enough hours in a damn day. So he understand, and sometimes we do. I do put a stop to it. Like for example, whenever we have date night, I have this rule that we have this rule that we're not going to talk about what's our reality. Let's talk about anything besides work, careers, payments, bills, all that good stuff. And let's just enjoy the moment, enjoy ourselves, just be in the moment, have fun. And we love it. It's very important. And yeah, communication. But it's been fun. He understands. He gets it. This is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Well, I won't say for the rest of my life. I don't know. At least for the next 5 years, this is it for me. Unless I decide to go in, like to do corporate America. You never know. But for now, this is it. And he said, "Cool, do your thing," because he see how much money that can be made. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. We're having a blast.
But, like, how do you prioritize just, like, for you to have, like, that energy to keep pushing all this time? Like, do you take time, like, do you have days where it's, like, no work days and you just focus on, like, your mental health and, self-love and all that? Or, like, how do you go about having that balance so you can continue to bring the energy
Mm.
to your clients and your business?
Um, Good question. Yesterday was the first day in a long time that I had a date with myself. Just me. Took myself for brunch, drank two mimosas, went to my head, had a burger, and I had a great time. But besides that, I don't know. Like, it's something I'm still changing my mindset on, and my coach is helping me with that. She's trying to get me to just take moments for yourself, and I will get there. It's just right now building a foundation. It's just my mind is so focused on that I'm like, okay, me can happen in a bit, but she's like, no, you first, because without you, nothing else can happen. You know. But right now, as long as I'm rested, I'm good. last week was a busy week for me. I had a breakdown because I had way too many meetings, too many deadlines, and I was just overwhelmed. But I realized that, okay, this will never happen again. Okay. And I'm making sure that it will not. And now, like, since I'm more rested, it's just been great. And yeah, me time will come in due time, bit by bit, as things get better and slow. So,
I feel you. I think it's interesting because, like, when you mentioned that, what I like heard is like you're kind of testing your limits too. Like you're trying to see how far can you push yourself
mm-hmm,
before you're like, okay, okay, this is too much. And so like now that you've kind of like had some of that, you can pull back and be like, okay, well, I know, knowing
mm-hmm,
me, that that will be too much. So now we can plan for next time. Like, let's not do that again. And then it's like constantly a learning and evolution of like how does Dina like best to work? How much can Dina prioritize at a time?
right.
Knowing like how much you can give. But you wouldn't know that unless you hit that wall and you're like, okay, okay,
Yep.
that's the wall. Like that is it. We don't want to go there.
That was the wall. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just like in the gym. You have to push yourself to the limits to get the results you want. It's just in business, it's don't push yourself way too much because you're going to crash and burn.
I feel you. I
Yeah.
feel you. I guess like do people ever like come to you and ask you for advice on like girls that are also like super inspired by the leap of faith that you took to invest in yourself and they like obviously will look up to you and be like, Dina, like this is so inspiring. How do you do it? I guess like do you like is there advice that you typically give young entrepreneurs or girls that are like trying to figure out how to kind of cultivate their own entrepreneurial path? Because sometimes I think like as women in business it can be very intimidating because we hear like, oh, business is a man's world, you know, and you got to deal with all these dudes, but your business is 100% focused on women and supporting women's needs and women's businesses, and it's like a whole different world. And I think, yeah, like you said, it's so much more fun because then it's like those are your girls, like these are your
Girl,
babes, you know. I
babes.
guess, like, how do you go about that for, like, people that maybe wanna follow a similar path, you know, or something do something a little different, but they're
Let's
nervous?
Well, for this business, I just started talking about it on my personal Instagram page. And with Teen Times, Mikey, he wants me to like do this whole interview and thing. And I'm like, do I really want to? And yes, I did spoke to my business coach about this. Like, I want to give back to my community, whether it's Honduras or St. Martin, and have this program set in place that if, for example, for business classes in MPC or Academy or St. Dominic or whatever, if they want to learn how to do, they create their own online business, like service based business, then it's very much possible. I would like to provide that course. It's not a problem for me. Um, but currently, because I haven't really spoken much about this business online personally, like on my own LinkedIn, my own Facebook, just Instagram, I haven't been getting a lot of like, do you have any advice for me, you know? And that's because I don't advertise myself. I only advertise myself like on my business page because I wanted to separate it a little bit. Not did the same mistake I did with the banana brand. Back then, people used to ask me a lot of questions. Oh my soul, a lot of questions. But now it's I do want to start talking about it more. Like, hey, especially young girls, even guys too. If you're gonna study in the Netherlands, you can go to the Chamber of Commerce, open your little business, offer online businesses. It's very possible. You can make some good cha-chings. You don't have to be working by these little what do you call them? After the clubs, it's like these food places, restaurants, when you can make your own money behind the scenes. I would love to start giving advice for whoever wants it. That's all of
I
that to
feel
say.
you.
Haven't been getting a lot of questions about how do I go about starting a business because I haven't been advertising it much.
I feel you. I'm curious to wait, is your business then registered in the Netherlands or in the US?
Yes. I had it registered in the Netherlands before I left, but then I had to close it down and now it's registered in the US.
Awesome. I feel you because like I feel like the process of registering your business in America is its own shit show, mountain climb of documents.
Actually, no. If you are international and you want to open your own business here, it's very easy. Like
That's
anyone can
interesting.
open a business in this country. Anyone.
Well, I don't know. I guess maybe for like the nonprofits, it's maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because did
Yes.
you only have to do like the articles of like incorporate, or did you just do an LLC, which is just like
Simple,
the
simple LLC.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you see, when I tried to, because I like had to go through this year and like incorporate the nonprofit, so it's like an actual 501(c)(3)
Yeah,
certified
that's different.
organization. Oh my god, I was like, that was its own little mountain of hell that I had to figure out in the background, having no clue. But yeah, no, LLCs low key are yeah, so much easier than we realize to just be like, "I have a business, let's call it this, and now I can go and, like, do my thing."
Yeah, it's quite simple. Like, it's very simple. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I'm so proud of you, Brent. Like, to see how much you've grown, like,
Oh
to
yeah.
see you, like, leave the island and to, like, become this person that's really so motivated. Like, to me, like, you have no fear, sis. Like, you just out here
I just do it.
trying, failing,
Yeah.
curving, pivoting,
Oh
and,
yeah.
like, it doesn't stop you, like, it just continues to fuel your passion, and I love that, like, I love to see that, which is why I'm so happy to have you on here today and to share that with people because I think, like, it's so incredible and refreshing to see people that are fearless in their pursuit of what it is that brings them joy, like, to me, that is the thing that, like, I feel like everyone should have that passion and
Oh
energy,
yeah.
because like we're all blessed with that. And like to see people that go after it, to me, it really inspires me and it helps keep me
Hmm.
on my own game because I'm like, okay, Dina's out here grinding. I can't start slacking off now, like you just
Oh
gotta keep
god.
the momentum.
Yeah, and it's truly just believing in yourself, having that vision, what you want to do, what are the results of what you want to do, and be able to invest. A lot of the times, especially in the islands, money's already tight. So whenever you do get a little ching, you want to keep it to yourself. But trust and believe, to make money, you need to spend money. To make money, you need to spend money. If I did not put myself in a room by paying how much I needed to pay, I would not be making how much I'm making now. Okay. So whoever's listening to this, if you ever want to just start something, feel free to just hit me up. I think um you will have my descriptions in the caption, right? Just message me and I'll be more than happy to help you out, to just figure out like your gift, what you can provide, cuz trust me, all of these businesses need someone to help them with their day-to-day. And you'll be surprised how many people may need a virtual assistant on the island. Maybe don't need cannot afford an employee, but can afford someone for like 5 hours a week, and that could be your spending money as long as you're paying taxes too.
I feel you. I feel you. And yeah, like I really like how you say like it doesn't have to be like a full-time thing. It could literally just start off like part-time, 5 hours, and then you grow.
You go from
Grow
there.
from there.
I started off at 60 hours with my first client, and now basically I'm working 24/7, but that's okay. I'm building this business. I'm basically working a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And because I love what I do, it's my job. I see it as my job. I clock in, I clock out. And if I want to take vacation, like in the next 2 weeks, I can, because I have the decision to do that. If I do not want to work on a Wednesday or a Friday, I can make that decision. And I love that freedom. You have no idea. It's so empowering. It's so sexy. It's
Facts.
so sexy. I love it.
No, that is, I mean, a boss babe is a hottie in my books, at least. Some dudes might be intimidated, but I'm like, no, this is a
Right,
girl that knows what she wants and she's
right.
going for it. That to me, like, there is nothing sex to me. I don't know. I feel you. That is hot. It's so
Right.
hot.
Yeah, so I think the cat's over the bag with me if with this podcast. So yeah, I probably will be talking about this a lot more on my personal pages. But for now, you catch me when you catch me. Because I'd be working, I'd be busy.